Tony McAvoy, you've been in Darwin since the beginning of January to take up the commissioner role, acting commissioner role. What have been your first impressions since hitting the ground?
I have had the opportunity over the last 2 weeks to review the work that's been done prior to my coming to the territory. The work has been fantastic. There's been a great level of consultation. There's been a high level of work done in terms of preparing for the report that has to be delivered at the end of March. And I've also had the opportunity to meet in the last 2 weeks with the Minister for Treaty, the Honourable Selina Ubo, and I've set up with her regular meetings to ensure that the government understands where this process is going. I also have had the opportunity to meet with the Northern Land Council and the Anandiliaqua Land Council over the last couple of days, and am meeting with the Central Land Council tomorrow. I've started with the existing land councils in order to get a picture of their view as to where it's going, and I can say that they are excited about the opportunities that are presenting themselves through this treaty process.
Mick Dodsons resigned from the commissioner role in June last year, and since then there's been no one in that position. How has that impacted the process?
Certainly, there's been some impact, I think, in terms of the momentum. That is a natural consequence of that sort of change of leadership in the role. But the Treaty Commission Office, the staff, the Deputy Commissioner, Ursula Raymond, have done a fantastic job. They've continued with the consultations. They've been present in the community, if not so present in the media. And so they've gone about doing the work that needed to be done in anticipation that someone like me would be appointed at some point. And there's no escaping some loss of momentum, but I can see a high level of goodwill from both the government and the Aboriginal community, particularly in the land councils, but across the community. So that goodwill will go a long way to renewing the momentum to this process over the coming months towards the tabling of the report.
Mr Dodsons' resignation came amid scandal over allegations that he verbally abused a woman at a football match. How damaging was that for the office?
I feel as though that the people in the office felt some of the pressure that comes with that sort of media attention. But they are very professional people, and they were able to continue on with the role that they were engaged to do, and I am very happy with the work that was done in the absence of a commissioner. I think they've done an outstanding job.
You've now got 2 months to deliver a major report on this treaty process in March this year. How do you go about delivering something so big in such a short amount of time?
Certainly the task I'm struggling with at the moment is one of finding the precise narrative that will carry the process through to the next election. And I'm concerned to have something that ties the whole report together, that reflects the people in the territory, the unique circumstances of the territory, and the role that all the different players have going forward. So that's a big part of the message that has to go with the report. The drafting of the report is in a fairly well-developed stage, and I don't have concerns about the content. We're close, and there is some work yet to be done, and certainly it's not in a stage which means that it will be difficult for me to alter if I don't agree with some parts of it. But at present, I'm very comfortable with where it's headed.
You haven't committed to being in the Commissioner's role after the report's delivered. Will you do so?
No. I came here on the understanding that I would continue my practices as senior counsel. I have other roles to do, and part of my commitment to the Northern Territory Government included an understanding that I have existing obligations that I can't and I'm not prepared to set aside. But I've been able to move most of the things that I need to move in order to give a very substantial amount of my time to this process. So I will be here residing in Darwin, able to travel around the territory until at least the report is delivered.
Do you think that not continuing will add further instability to the office?
No, not at all. This stage that will be reached by the tabling of the report is a significant milestone, and the next stage is one which is a new stage, in my view. It is a continuation of a long process, and but I don't think having to change the Commission in any way in terms of its leadership is going to affect the ability to do what needs to be done. And certainly, you know, I know that there are many good people around who have the skills that would be necessary to do the task.
March this year, the report's handed down. How do you go about, and how does the office go about ensuring that it doesn't just sit gathering dust? You know, will we see a treaty, and when? It's
not for me to say when a treaty will be delivered. Treaties, of course, are agreements, and it requires all parties to the agreements to be willing to enter agreement. But what I can say is this: I'm focused at the moment on ensuring that all of the interested parties in this treaty process understand where it's going. So that's the purpose of my regular meetings with the Minister, and I will be meeting with members of Parliament. I'll be meeting with First Nations groups to ensure that people have a very good idea of what is likely to be in the report when it comes down, so that there's not going to be shocks, and there's not going to be a lengthy time period required for consideration of what's in the report. The people should have a fairly good idea and be able to move swiftly, and I think that's a necessity. It's a necessity to ensure that the momentum that is now being developed is not lost again. And there are a number of things that are able to be done before the next election in the Territory. The next election is in 2024, and with goodwill and hard work, I think that some major achievements can be reached in that time.
I guess just finally, you've been a major advocate for treaties. How do you think that the country is going as a whole at the moment? It's
a difficult process, and one in which I try to always remind people the treaty process processes that we're engaged in around this country are simply trying to bring to fruition the things that ought to have been done at the very beginning. And so we're at this place now where we've got the opportunity to rectify some things. We've got the opportunity to complete the unfinished business that's been started in this country. And so while Victoria is moving ahead at a significant pace, Queensland is already involved in a treaty process, and I understand there has been a report delivered in Tasmania about establishing a treaty process there. These processes are well on their way, and I think they're like a snowball rolling down a hill, and they're gathering pace and support from the community as the broader community gets to understand that treaties are not things to be feared, but things to be embraced, and it's a part of the maturation of this country as a whole that we engage in a respectful manner and try to put some of the past inequities behind us.
Tony McAvoy, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ben.